Hey there, and welcome. Now, we all kind of know that having friends is important, right? But what if I told you your social life is doing way more than just making you happy? That it's actually a powerful biological force that's actively protecting your body and your brain? Let's dive into the science, because it's pretty wild.
So let me just ask you straight up, is your social life your secret superpower? We're about to explore some incredible science that suggests the answer is a huge yes, and probably in ways you've never even thought of.
So where do we start? Let's begin with something really simple, something we can all relate to, the biology of a hug. Because these profound effects of social connection, you can see them in our most basic, everyday interactions.
I mean, it's a no-brainer that being close to people we care about feels good. But is that just a feeling? Or can it actually, physically, shield you from the daily grind of stress? Well, some researchers decided to put it to the test.
To measure that, they needed to track a key marker for stress in the body. And that's where this hormone, cortisol, comes into play. You can think of cortisol as your body's built-in alarm system. When you're stressed out, your cortisol levels shoot up. It's that internal alarm bell ringing loud and clear.
And check this out. A study of 51 couples found something pretty fascinating. Take a look at this chart. On days when people reported any kind of physical intimacy, we're talking hugging, holding hands, simple touch, their cortisol levels were significantly lower. That's the bar on the left. It wasn't about how happy they were in their relationship overall. It was that daily dose of physical connection that literally dialed down their body's stress alarm.
Okay, so connection protects your body from day-to-day stress. Cool. But what about the long game? What about your brain? Let's zoom out and look at how our social lives can build what you might call a social shield for your mind.
And the key idea here is something called cognitive reserve. The best way to think about it is like a savings account for your brain. The more reserve you build up over your life, the better your brain can handle the challenges that come with aging, and the more resilient it is against decline.
So the big question is, how do we build up this reserve? We usually think of things like education or maybe doing brain games. But a really groundbreaking study points to a surprising contributor, our social lives.
And get this, it's not just about whether you have friends or not. The research shows that the actual shape and structure of your social network plays a direct role in building up this mental fortitude. This slide just illustrates it perfectly. Look over on the left. You see that small, dense network where everybody knows everybody? Yeah, it's comfortable, but it can turn into an echo chamber. Now, look at the image on the right. It's a bigger, more diverse network. You've got loose connections linking you to different groups, work friends, people from your hobby, your family. And what the research found is that the network on the right is linked to way higher cognitive reserve.
So let's break that down. Having a larger number of contacts, that's a plus. Having a greater diversity of relationships, friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, that's also a big plus. But here's the kicker. Having a high network density, where all your friends are also friends with each other, was actually associated with lower cognitive reserve. It seems our brains thrive on the novelty and mental challenge that comes from navigating a wide, diverse social world.
Okay, so we've seen the powerful benefits of connection. But what happens on the flip side? What does your brain do to cope when that social interaction just isn't there?
First, we have to understand that this isn't just a preference, it's a deep, deep evolutionary drive. As this quote gets at, we are fundamentally wired for group living. So being alone doesn't just feel sad. Our brains can actually interpret it as a threat, and that triggers some real psychological discomfort.
And because this need is so fundamental, your brain has developed this totally fascinating coping mechanism for when real in-person connection is in short supply. Scientists have a great name for it: social snacking.
And social snacking is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's when you seek out these little bites of social connection, often from non-human sources, just to tide you over when you're feeling lonely. It's your brain's way of trying to appease that fundamental need to belong.
So what does this actually look like in real life? Well, research shows that when people feel lonely, they're more likely to do things like talk to themselves, sing to themselves, or just turn on the TV for some background company. These might seem like kind of quirky habits, but they're actually your brain's attempt to simulate a social environment.
But why does this even work? The answer is buried in our ancient brain wiring. See, we all have this highly tuned agency detection system that's always on the lookout for other beings. This system evolved long before television or radio existed. So when it hears a human voice, doesn't matter if it's from a real person in the room or a character on a screen, it kind of has a hard time telling the difference. It just gets a little signal that says, hey, you are not alone, and in a pinch, that can be enough.
So from dialing down your stress hormones to building a more resilient mind for the future, your social life is one of the most powerful tools you have. Your brain is hardwired to seek connection. It will even create substitutes when the real thing is scarce. So the only question left really is this: how will you answer its call?